Every week in Bristol, thousands of us leave out our brown food waste caddies. And in the morning, poof, they're gone. Out of sight, out of mind. But where does it actually go? The council says, don't worry, it's being turned into green energy and biofertiliser. Sounds neat, right? Like your leftover spaghettis powering somebody's shower. But the truth? It's a bit messier, literally. Here's the official journey of your food waste. Step 1. Bristol Waste Company collects it from your doorstep. They're council owned, and honestly, they do a pretty incredible job dealing with the sheer volume of waste a city like Bristol produces. Step 2. It goes to a transfer station, basically a giant depot where all the little bins get tipped into huge containers. Step 3. Those containers are trucked 13 miles out of Bristol to a place called GENeco in Avonmouth. And GENeco is an anaerobic digestion plant, which breaks down your food waste and produces methane-rich biogas. And this biogas can do two things. It can power a generator to make electricity, or get cleaned up and sold into the gas grid. And the leftover solids, called digestate or cake, are spread on farmers' fields as fertiliser. So in theory, Bristol's food scraps are powering homes and fertilising fields. Sounds like a win-win, right? Today, we're lifting the lid on Bristol's food waste system. What works, what doesn't, and how we can do better. But here's where things get complicated. First, transport miles. Food waste is transported 13 miles out of Avonmouth, and when you multiply that by thousands of tonnes, it adds up. Second, contamination. People throw in food waste liners, food packaging, and even plastic bags. GENeco strips some of this out, but inevitably some gets through. Thirdly, the digestate itself. Lots of studies are now coming out about the pollution found in anaerobic digestate, and this is being spread on our farmers' fields. And finally, the smell. Council bins don't ferment food waste with bokashi. Instead, it rots in an unsealed bin, leaving horrible smells that attract flies and maggots. Now, let's talk about Generation Soil. We're not here trying to replace Bristol Waste Company or GENeco. They deal with a huge amount of food waste, but we offer something different. We're creating a decentralised network of hyperlocal community composting hubs, just like this one. And here, we turn food scraps into soil. We use this thing called bokashi fermentation, and if you've watched the last few videos, you might have heard of it. You add scraps, sprinkle bran flakes, seal the bucket, and the result? No smell, no flies, and no rotting. And when the buckets are full, we swap them out for clean ones. The fermented waste is composted into living soil, which is microbe-rich, crumbly, and sweet-smelling. We even use reclaimed buckets, keep our collection routes short, and the compost even stays in Bristol. But here's our vision. Surabaya in Indonesia is a city of 3 million people, but they've managed to get 20% of their population composting food waste. Just imagine if Bristol did the same. Every community with their own composting hub. That means cleaner bins with less smell, compost for local growers, schools and allotments, healthy soils that support biodiversity and store carbon, and urban communities involved in the food system rather than disconnected from it. And just to finish off, let me be clear. Bristol Waste Company and GENeco do a fantastic job dealing with a huge amount of food waste, and this video really isn't about tearing them down. For Generation Soil, it's about filling the gaps, it's about changing behaviour, and it's about giving the people of Bristol a choice as to what happens with their food scraps. Generation Soil are here to create a truly circular food system. By feeding our food scraps back into the soil, we can improve the soil health, and we can improve the nutrition of our food, and we can improve our own health as well. It really is that simple. So, if you want cleaner bins, better compost and better soil, join Generation Soil. If you're in Bristol, please click the link below. It will take you to our Bristol Living Compost page where you can sign up and become a member. Alternatively, if you want to do your own composting, we have lots of resources on our website, and if you sign up to our mailing list, you can get a couple of free guides. One is a beginner's guide to compost, microbes and regeneration, and our other one gives you tips on how to keep a smell-free food waste bin. Let's turn waste into soil, soil into food, and food into health.